30 minutes to curtain. Yes, it's 30 minutes to curtain, a weekly half hour of radio entertainment. Each week at this time, we bring you mystery, comedy, adventure, romance, fantasy, and fun. This week, we bring you a deliciously evil Halloween fantasy as a pair of gleeful witches seek to unleash havoc on the world in The Witch's Ring by Sidney Marshall. And now, here's the play. France in the 19th century was still recovering from the violence of the recent revolution. Political intrigue and lust for power provided the groundwork for even more violent conflict. But fortunately for France and her people, there arose during those times a champion whose efforts on behalf of liberty and freedom became a legend of the times. That legend, that champion was Edmond Dantes, the Count of Monte Cristo.
I cannot vouch as to the truth of what is about to transpire here. I cannot say that these things actually happened, that they existed in historical fact. I only know that within my cabinet of precious curios, I still possess that ring, the Witch's Ring. But whether I came by it in reality or dream, in fact or fantasy, I shall never know. These events must have begun on a gray, clouded morning following All Hallows Eve, Halloween. In the dank interior of a loathsome cave on the slopes of the French Alps, a black, misshapen figure paces restlessly as a second such figure joins it in the eerie gloom.
What is your reaction to the events of the night just past?
Frankly, Rascal Dane, I find this cavorting of ours on All Hallows Eve like the primitive play of children.
Aye, riding broomsticks, making faces at superstitious peasants, throwing dead cats into wells and impersonating hobgoblins. Bah! This is an insult to the capabilities of two such talented witches as we.
When I think back to the days of our vicious, destructive, malignant youth, when we rode into the slaughter of battle with Genghis Khan, brought grief and suffering to half the world with Alexander the Great, wrote a magnificent pattern of evil with the pen of Prince Machiavelli. Yeah, those were toothsome projects indeed for a black-hearted witch to think of tying into.
Then tell me this, noxious one. Why should we leave this snake-filled cave but once a year on All Hallows Eve? Why do we not bring back those glorious grief-stricken days once again?
But why not indeed, Rascal Dane? True, we went into semi-retirement and the profits we reaped during the Revolution, but we can emerge again, stir up another rebellion with even more glorious suffering and carnage.
Of course we can, and we shall. We shall go to Paris and begin at once. Evil, evil, lovely evil! We shall spread thy poisonous shadow over all of France! Come along, Dr.
Evil, evil, lovely evil! A battle cry to warm the ghoulish cockles of any corrupt witch's heart. Wait for me, Rascal Dame! Wait for me!
Oh, thank heavens the King's Old Howdy ball is over at last, monsieur. I fear I'm getting a bit too old to dance all night and well into the following morn. Oh.
This senility of yours, Rene, seemed in no way to prevent you from paying gallant court to every roguish pair of eyes that flashed your way from behind a mask.
No, well, monsieur, I will confess that I pressed every advantage given me. Oh, me. But there were some beautiful costumes there last evening.
Yes, were there not, my friend?
By the way, monsieur, speaking of costumes, did that old crone in the Witch's Guard ever address herself to you?
Old crone? Why, no, Rene. Who was she?
A fantastically dressed person, monsieur. One would have sworn she... One would have sworn she was a centuries-old witch who had just come from some bat's cave and had flown into the palace on a broomstick.
And what did she wish with me, Rene?
Wish with... she merely pointed you out and asked if I knew your name. Pardon. I told her, and then some pretty little thing came dancing past, and... when I turned back again, the witch was gone. Just as though she had disappeared into thin air. Just as though she...
And you say his name is the Count of Monte Cristo, Rasputin?
An anxious one, a handsome, courtly gallant, high in the confidence of the weakling king. A perfect victim for a loathsome wild.
Excellent, Rasputin, excellent. We shall use him then for our ignoble experiment. Now, whom shall we get to make him fall prey to the temptations of power and empire? The ghost of Napoleon, Julius Caesar, Alexander the Great?
No, noxious one, none of these. We shall use the ghost of Attila the Hun.
Attila the Hun, of course. A perfectly revolting choice. Powerful, ruthless. He's just the one to bend Monte Cristo's will to his iron hand. A positive inspiration of evil genius.
Thank you, Sister Noxious One. I, too, thought it as fine an inspiration as I have had since I designed the original guillotine.
And listen to this, wrathful dame. Here is an inspiration evil enough to match your own. In addition to Attila the Hun, we shall also employ the ghost of the Lucretia Borgia.
Lucretia Borgia! Oh, good. You have indeed made a fine, abominable suggestion. With Lucretia's charms added to Attila's powerful will, the Count of Monte Cristo is surely doomed.
What was that?
It would seem a storm has overtaken us on our way home, Rene.
A storm, monsieur? So it is, monsieur. And one that promises to become quite violent before it is through. Have you noticed the ominous forbidding darkness? It presses against the windows of the carriage like black curtains veiling the entire outside world. Monsieur?
Yes, Rene?
Do you hear anything peculiar, monsieur? Or rather, not hear it?
Yes, my friend. There is no longer any sound from the wheels of the carriage or the horse's hooves.
But the carriage is still moving, monsieur. I can feel it swaying and rolling.
Well, perhaps our driver can explain it. Baptistine! Baptistine!
He does not answer, monsieur.
Perhaps the noise of the storm prevents him from hearing. I'll open the carriage door.
Monsieur, there is nothing out there but blackness and void. Nothing but nothing.
It would almost seem as though the storm cloud had picked us up and was carrying us along with it.
But how could that be possible, monsieur? How could it be? How could it, monsieur? Monsieur? Do you hear what I am hearing?
I do, Rene.
What is it, monsieur? What?
If I were a superstitious man, Rene, I would say that sound was the laughter of witches. witches cackling gleefully over some huge cosmic joke.
Come, help me pull this thundercloud along. We have a far distance to carry it before we reach the sea.
Monsieur, what has happened to us? Where are we?
In some inexplicable fashion, Rene, we seem to have suddenly found ourselves in the main hall of some ancient castle.
But how did we get here? And whose castle is it? And...
Might I suggest you address your questions to me, my friend?
Monsieur.
Yes, Rene. We should be happy to address them to you, monsieur, or to anyone who can afford us an explanation of these bizarre doings.
I do not wonder at your bewilderment, Herr Count, nor that of your friend, Herr Michon. But allow me to set your minds at ease. I am the Baron Attila. This castle is mine, located in the Black Forest of Saxony, and you were brought here by my men, under the influence of drugs.
Drugs? Brought here by you? Monsieur, this baron has been guilty of all the high-handed, dastardly, knavish tricks that...
Hold, Rene, hold. Restrain your indignation for a moment. Why, I'm certain the Baron Attila has his own excellent reasons for such an action.
Ja, Herr Count. It was most necessary that I bring you here undetected and in secrecy. For you see, Monte Cristo, I am about to have you assume the crown of the King of France.
Monsieur, this Baron Attila is mad, indubitably insane.
I have grave doubts as to that, Rene.
But these grandiose delusions of his, claiming to have at his command an army large enough to overrun all Central Europe.
That is not beyond the realm of possibility, Rene. Baron Attila would not be the first to dream of becoming an emperor through conquest, and others have succeeded before him.
But true, monsieur, true, but...
And it would only be good military strategy to wish a friendly king on the throne of France to protect his western flank.
Of course, monsieur, of course, but the impudence of him, the unmitigated gall to think that a man like you would head a revolt against Louis Philippe in order to become king of France yourself.
Also good strategy, Rene. For a man like me, in the confidence of the king, with intimate knowledge of all the rebellious nobles of France, could quite possibly overthrow Louis Philippe.
But he fails so utterly to take character into account. How dare he presume that you would be so dazzled by this bribery he offers as to accept immediately this insulting proposition he offered?
Well, whether his offer is presumptuous or not, my friend, he gave me an hour to make up my mind, and the time has now lapsed. I suggest we join him in his library, and I will tender him my decision.
Well, monsieur, it would seem that Baron Attila is not too anxious to hear your decision. He seems nowhere about.
That is just as well, Rene. We shall not lack pleasant company while awaiting him.
Your pardon, monsieur? What do you mean by... Oh, well...
Buongiorno, signores. I trust you will not mind being bored by my presence until Baron Attila arrives.
It is already evident, Signorina, that no one could possibly be bored while with you.
Indeed, yes, Signorina, indeed, yes.
Grazie, signores. I am Lucretia, the ward of Baron Attila, and I am most anxious to speak with you before you give him your decision.
Oh, surely a beautiful woman like you has no interest in power politics, Signorina Lucretia.
Ah, but like all women, Signor Il Conte, I am interested in strong men. Men who are strong enough to secure power, prestige, even thrones, perhaps. I could be very attracted by such a man, Signor. and I could be most helpful to him.
May I ask your meaning, Signorina?
Surely feminine wiles are not to be scorned in a game where kingdoms are the pawns, Signor. I know I could supply such a man as I spoke of with great inspiration.
I would be the most crass of bores, Signorina, to cast the slightest shadow of doubt upon that statement.
Then listen to me, Signor. I have always had a burning ambition to someday be a queen. There would be little I would not do to achieve that goal. And do you not think, my dear Il Conte, that I would make a most desirable queen to sit by your side on the throne of France?
Well, really, of all the brazen, the cruel... Monsieur, will you please tell this woman that you have already made up your mind and that there is no doubt as to what your decision will be?
Yes, Rene, I shall tell her. For you see, Signorina Lucretia, I shall accept the Baron's offer.
Ah, there, you see, Signorina, just as I said. Monsieur le Comte has decided to... Has decided... Oh, Monsieur! Oh, no!
Again, I must state that I do not attempt to account for the events which began on the day following All Hallows' Eve. I know only that there was without question some plan afoot to incite rebellion in France. And if I actually had fallen prey to the temptations of Baron Tillon and his beautiful ward Lucretia, then certainly the glee of the two witches, Wrathful Dame and Noxious One, would have known no bounds.
Tis working, Noxious One, our plan is working. Oh, cheerless, evil day.
Wrathful Dame, your unholy inspiration to tempt the Count of Monte Cristo with the ghost of Attila the Hun was the most brilliant of all your centuries of revolting witchcraft.
Oh, nay, my dear and lovely Noxious One. 'Twas your suggestion of employing the evil wiles of Lucretia Borgia that proved the most revolting of all.
I will not argue, Wrathful Dame, for all that matters is that the Count has fallen to temptation. The scenes of carnage and bloodshed are now certain to follow soon. Evil, lovely evil.
Evil, lovely evil. Let us follow them to Paris now, my unholy sister, and watch our beautiful, ghoulish plot unfold.
Descamps, Beauchamp, and Leclerc. There we are, Rene. As fine a list of rebellious and dissident nobles as can be found in the whole of France.
Yes, Monsieur, I agree. But now, I beg of you, please destroy that list before it falls into the hands of Baron Attila.
Destroy it? Why, these are the very men who shall form the core of this planned revolution.
Monsieur, you cannot be serious. It was all very well to play along with the Baron and his ward in order to save our lives in Saxony. But now that we are back in Paris again...
And what lead you to believe that I was merely hoodwinking the Baron, Rene?
Why, it's obvious, Monsieur. What could possibly tempt a man like yourself to even think of disloyalty to your country?
A lust for power might do it, my friend.
Power?
Yes, Rene. Power to sway the destinies of millions of people by a wave of the hand, the scratch of a pen on paper.
But that would never appeal to you, Monsieur.
And why not, Rene? Perhaps I have become bored playing the role of Good Samaritan. Perhaps I feel that the world owes me something for those long, dreary years spent in the dungeons of the Chateau d'If.
No, Monsieur, not you, not...
And perhaps I feel that it is time I had for a mate a woman like Lucretia. Beautiful, brilliant, filled with the fires of love and hate that would make life with her an exciting, ever-thrilling adventure.
No, Monsieur, I could never believe that. You would have to be possessed by evil spirits to be bewitched in order for you to change so radically from the man I have known.
Perhaps I am, Rene. But whatever the reason, my future actions are clear. I am going ahead with my plans for revolution against King Louis Philippe. are you in? Renee, are you here in the
Buongiorno, darling.
Lucretia.
And are you disappointed, darling, in finding me in the conservatory rather than Michon?
I believe you know differently, Lucretia.
Yes, darling. I am certain that I do. But I had to make certain that you had not changed your plans regarding me.
It would be impossible for me to change them, Lucretia, under any circumstances.
Oh, thank you, my sweet. But what if I were to ask you to change them?
Well, what do you mean?
What if I were to ask you to make me an empress rather than a queen?
An empress?
Yes, darling. Empress of all Europe.
I do not understand, Lucretia. The Baron Attila is to become emperor. We are merely to assume the throne of France.
But if he were eliminated from our plans, we would not have to stop at the boundaries of one country. All Europe, nay, the entire world, could become ours, alone.
All Europe. The entire world.
Think of it, my sweet. You and I with the world at our feet. A paradise in which we two would dwell together in eternal happiness. Always. Would this not be worth a trifling change in plans, my darling?
How may it be accomplished, Lucretia?
Baron Attila is arriving in 2 days to give you the word to begin the revolution. Invite all the rebellious nobles to attend a banquet here that night. But you and I shall be the ones to give the word, not Attila. For he shall be dead.
Dead?
Here, take this ring. The stone may be removed by a little twist. In the cavity underneath it are a few drops of liquid. Pour those drops into his wine goblet, and he shall be removed from our path forever.
There is de Conde. Montserrat has just seated himself. Ah, they're almost all here, René.
Yes, monsieur. And to think that here in this very house are gathered the most ignoble of all the French nobles. Even the king's own minister of defense, the Marquis de Montserrat, has fallen prey to the falsely glittering promises you have made.
My patience is worn thin with these constant harpings of yours, René. You had my permission long ago to withdraw from this house if you wished.
I am afraid, monsieur, that my loyalty against my better will forces me to remain here. I shall see you later, monsieur.
Well, my darling, is everything going as you desire it?
Everything, Lucretia.
You have the ring.
Here on my finger.
The Baron is already seated. He will expect you to say a few words to him before the banquet begins. What better time, my sweetheart?
Yes, Lucretia. What better time, indeed. I trust you are pleased, Baron Attila, with the reception I have arranged for you.
Eminently so, my dear Count. Judging by the coats of arms I see gathered here, you have done your work well.
You are generous with your compliments, Baron. Shall we drink a toast, then, to our futures? Here, Baron, a glass of wine from the finest vineyards in Burgundy. To our futures.
Our futures, my dear Count. Good. And now if all preparations have been made...
Yes, Baron. I shall call the assemblage to order at once. May I have your attention, please? My friends. Your attention. The reasons for gathering here, gentlemen, are varied. Jealousy, greed, desire for power, all play their part. But whatever the reasons, your objective is the same. The overthrow of the King Louis Philippe. Only one thing remains. To inform you all of a slight change in plans. For I wish you to know that my entire mansion at this very moment is entirely surrounded by loyal troops of His Majesty King Louis Philippe. What? For that is the plan I was working on. And so in behalf of liberty and not of revolution, in behalf of benevolent government and not tyranny, and in the name of His Royal Majesty King Louis Philippe, I hereby declare all of you gathered here under arrest for treason to the crown.
Monsieur, I do not know what to say, how to apologize to you for everything I have said and thought against you. Monsieur, Monsieur.
Oh, no apologies are necessary, my friend. I only regret that I could not have allowed you to know my plan. But I was afraid to even speak it out loud.
I know, Monsieur, I know. And now, thanks to you, any threat of revolution in France has been dispelled for years. But there is one thing I do not understand.
And what is that, Rene?
Well, I realize, of course, that you did not actually poison Baron Attila. That was merely to lull any suspicions on the part of Lucretia. But when the soldiers took all the prisoners away, I did not see either the Baron or the Signorina. What happened to them, Monsieur?
I do not know, Rene.
Do not know?
No, my friend. For when I glanced toward their seats at the banquet table, my vision blurred. I seemed to see only 2 black clouds, and when my vision cleared, the Baron and Lucretia were gone.
So, this is how your wonderful plan worked out. You two old, obnoxious hags. You are
my dear Lucretia. We never dreamed. We...
Bah! Should have known better than to return to Earth at the behest of such fools as you. Conquest, disaster, death you promised me. And here we are defeated by a weakling mortal. Bah! All you are good for is scaring little children on Halloween.
Oh, but my dear killer, we thought it seemed. We were certain that...
Bah! Come along, Lucretia. Let us return to the nether region. There is much more of interest there.
Aye, Attila. I was brewing some potent poisons when my experiments were interrupted by these loathsome toads. I should like to try those brews on them when I finally have them finished.
Well, Rascal James.
Well, noxious one.
All our dreams gone.
All our plans and hopes vanished.
And all because of him who is known as the Count of Monte Cristo. Oh, well, my revolting sister, we still have one consoling thought.
And what could that possibly be, noxious one?
Merely this. We now have less than a year to wait before the next All Hallows Eve comes round again.
The Witch's Ring was written by Sidney Marshall, produced by Steve Jelf, and directed by Herbert T. Schmidt, Jr. Our technician is C.R. Bryan III, and sound patterns were by Phil Campbell, Barbara Watkins, D.F. Langford, and Dave Smith, Jr. Featured in the cast were Ed Hayes as the Count of Monte Cristo, Charles Girardi as Rene Michon, Marianne Strossner as Lucretia Borgia, Phil Campbell as Attila the Hun, Dave Smith, Sr. as Noxious One, and Herb Schmidt as Wrathful Dame. This is your announcer, Bob Lyons, inviting you to join us next week for The Man Says Yes with Bob Shannon on 30 Minutes to Curtain.